Well, it seems the Irish government has found itself a new national security threat. No, it's not the drug gangs. No, it's not paramilitaries in Northern Ireland. And it's not even the dreaded far right. Who is it, I hear you ask? It's a woman making her husband a sandwich. Yes, Norma Foley, our current Minister for Children, Disability and Equality. Which one is she, I hear you? She's the one with the haircut. It looks a bit like Mo out of the Three Stooges. Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, she launched the other day the first action plan under the National Strategy for Women and Girls. Okay, no biggie there, I hear you say. And somewhere in amongst the paperwork, under all of the equality flowery language, it seems official Ireland has a new anxiety. Tradwives. Yes, Tradwives. Now, for any one of you who don't live on TikTok, as I'm sure most of you probably don't, I certainly don't, let me translate that terrifying word. It means your mother, your ma, your mammy, or indeed your grandmother, your granny or your grandma. Yes, those dangerous women who got married, had children, kept a home, raised a family, and somehow ran the entire operation without a diversity consultant, a gender strategy, or even a Facebook post about how empowered they were. Yes, the Irish mammy, the cornerstone on which this nation was built. But now, according to Mo Howard, Norma Foley, it's stuck in my head now, Three Stooges, Mo, that's not, just cut that out. But now, according to Norma Foley and the Bright Sparks writing strategy documents, she's a bit of a problem. Not because she's cruel, not because she's dangerous, because she makes home look normal. Dinner on the table, the children born, reared and raised. A family that doesn't need the state's watchful eye at every moment of the day. And God forbid young women out there might see a bit of this and think, that looks marvellous. I wish I could do that. And this is the bit that really gets me every time. For years and years, we were told women must be free to choose. Choose career, lifestyle, destiny. Grand, okay, fair enough. We all signed up to that, at least the vast majority of us did. Live your best life. No argument from me there. In fact, Norma launched this whole new grand strategy with the line, a girl should be two things, who and what she wants. Wonderful, bravo, well said, Norma. But here's the kicker. What if the girl in question decides she wants to be a stay-at-home wife and mother? Does that choice still count? Or does she suddenly need a government information campaign? Because as with all these grand government strategies, the devil is in the detail. There always seems to be a footnote they never put front and centre on the posters. You're free to choose, it seems, anything you like, as long as you choose correctly. Corporate lawyer, empowered. HR manager, empowered. Diversity consultant, they'll name a wing of a building after you. With a woman who says, actually, I think I'd like to stay home a few years, raise my children, and look after my family. Whoa! Somebody get Norma Foley on the phone. I think we got a live one here. And here's another interesting thing about the timing of this latest grand initiative. Ireland's fertility rate is 1.5 children per woman. Replacement rate is 2.1. Registered births here in the Republic of Ireland in 2015 were nearly 66,000. Last year it was 54,000. That's nearly 18% down in a decade. The average first-time mother is now almost 32 years old. So we, or rather they, built a country where two wages are often needed for a modest house. Childcare costs a fortune, and couples are forced to push family later and later. And then the same establishment looks around at the empty nursery and goes, good God, where have all the babies gone? Well, I have a theory. Maybe spending decades treating motherhood as somehow less impressive, less important than sitting in an open plan office answering emails wasn't the cultural masterstroke that the feminists thought it was. Because here's something we, the logical, sane people, always knew and previous generation knew in spades. Raising children is a full-time job. Running a home is a full-time job. Running a household, running a family, holding the family together is the most important job in the whole of society. And your mother and my mother and our grandmothers didn't need some government strategy to tell them how to do it. And here's the bit they hope you've forgotten all about. Remember the care referendum in March 2024 when the government, in their infinite wisdom, wanted the constitutional wording on women in the home gone, deleted. And the Irish people told them in a resounding manner exactly where to go. 73.9% of you wonderful people told them to stuff it. Every single constituency voted no. But apparently, official Ireland absorbed that particular lesson for about 10 seconds, if even that. And if this is resonating with you out there, and I certainly hope that it is, hit like and share it before the algorithm decides that making a sandwich is a hate crime. Let me know what you think. Is choosing family restrictive, or is the state restrictive? Imagine, if you will, explaining this to an Irish mammy in 1960. Mrs. Murphy, in the future, women will have vastly more career opportunities. Wow, that sounds marvellous. Yes, doctors, solicitors, barristers, company directors. Wow, says Mrs. Murphy, that's absolutely amazing. Yes, indeed, Mrs. Murphy, but if your granddaughter decides she'd rather stay home with her own children, well, the government may need to intervene, because maybe she's been watching suspicious videos of women baking sourdough bread. I'd suggest Mrs. Murphy in 1960 would immediately reach for her trusty rolling pin and bait you out the door. And I say she'd be right to do it, because the problem isn't about choice. The problem is a political culture that cannot leave people the hell alone. As far as I'm concerned, there's only two types of people in this world. People who want to be left alone and people who won't leave them the F alone. A grown woman in modern Ireland choosing a traditional marriage, a traditional family life, does not need rescuing by Norma Foley. See, I got it right that time. She doesn't need some woke, progressive, feminist NGO to reprogram her. She doesn't need a taxpayer-funded expert explaining that the apple tart is an instrument of the patriarchy. Don't you touch it, my dear. That apple tart could lead you to ruin. But maybe she actually likes her husband. Maybe she likes her children. Maybe she enjoys creating a home and taking care of the family. And maybe not every woman in Ireland dreams of becoming regional vice president of synergy and stakeholder engagement. The radical feminists wanted the Irish mammy liberated. Well, congratulations, she's liberated. Traffic at 7:30 in the morning. Mortgage the size of the Greek national debt. Dropping a child into childcare so she can race to work to pay for the childcare that lets her go to work. And before anyone goes and misses the point here, this is not an attack on women who work. Most families today couldn't survive if both parents didn't work. That is part of the point I'm making. We built an economy where staying home with your own children is a luxury that a lot of families simply cannot afford. And having helped create that reality, official Ireland now looks sideways at the women who still want the traditional option. Meanwhile, fertility is 1.5 births, down nearly 18% in 10 years. And more young women are looking back to those halcyon days and thinking, you know what, Mammy may have had a point. And that, I suspect, is what frightens the political class, because as far as I'm concerned, the political class now is absolutely beholden, if not completely in the tank, for radical, modern, woke feminists and feminist ideas. They're not really afraid that women have no choices. They're afraid that some women might make the wrong choices. So keep your eyes open. If you see a suspicious Irish woman with a pram, a rolling pin, possibly wearing an apron, looking alarmingly content with her life, do not approach. Call the department and mow out Norma Foley immediately, because Ireland may have another Tradwife on the loose.